We're celebrating a birthday. Stay tuned as Carolina People highlights Around Myrtle Beach magazine. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're in Conway at the historic train depot on Highway 905. We're focused on the inaugural issue of Around Myrtle Beach, coming out on newsstands around Thanksgiving. And we're visiting with its editor, Jerry Ausband. Jerry, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
Incredible opportunity yesterday and today to highlight this first anniversary publication. I guess it's the fourth in what will be a long series of quarterly publications.
We certainly hope it will be. We're very pleased and very proud of what we've done so far.
I'm sure you are, Jerry. Could we talk a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
For viewers in the PD or southeastern North Carolina who may not have seen your name for the last many number of years associated with the Sun News, are you originally from the area?
I'm from Conway. I was born there and raised there. And then I went off for about 25 years and came back in 1979.
Is that right? When did you first begin to work in the publishing business?
I guess in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Conway High School had a little publication called The Inkling, and I worked on it, and then went to Clemson, which has no journalism school, by the way, but there I worked on the Tiger and was managing editor of the Tiger, and then I won a scholarship from the Greenville News and worked for them for one summer for my senior year, and then went back to work for them after I finished.
Mm-hmm. How long were you with the Greenville News?
I was there 4 years. I worked on the state desk, the city desk, and then in a bureau. Then I went to the state in Columbia for a couple of 3 years, and then I moved to Shelby, North Carolina, to a small daily newspaper up there, and then back here in '79 to the Sun News.
So the Sun News brought you back to Horry County?
Yes, that's right.
And in 1979?
Yeah, 1979, yeah.
Did you stay on continuously from '79 until you retired?
Sure, yeah.
Son of a
22
God.
years, I guess, yeah.
That's right. I was just adding that together because I knew you'd retired in the recent past. Do you still have family in Horry County?
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. Of course, my own family, and my sister also lives in Horry County. She and her husband and family.
Mm-hmm.
So I have all them. My mother and father are deceased. But other than that, yeah, I've still got family.
That's fantastic. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about how you became associated with Around Myrtle Beach magazine?
Sure. I'd retired, and I was taking life easy, and my wife said, we need more money coming in than your retirement, and you're lazing around, and I want you to go to work. And so she rented Alton somewhere, and that's really how it came about.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then I interviewed with them, and they hired me on.
That's amazing. What responsibilities do you have as editor of the magazine for viewers who may not know what those responsibilities would entail?
Well, in my case, Alton and I together sort of schedule what we're going to do in the next edition, and then I edit and I assign all the stories and edit all of those stories as they come in, and then then I look at the proofs. We read the page proofs, which is what we're going to be doing soon.
Right. When you think about having had 22 years at the Sun News and before that with a number of daily newspapers, what's the primary difference of publishing a daily newspaper and being the editor of a quarterly magazine?
That's a fairly easy question to answer, but the main thing is you publish every day in the newspaper business. And so whatever you know today, you put in the paper tomorrow. In magazine, we publish every 3 months, and so therefore you have to look further ahead than yesterday.
Right.
You have to look ahead 3 months and see what might be of interest or what stories will hold for 3 months.
What a tough chore, Jerry.
It's just part of the job. It's what you look at. There's some things that are timeless. We do a lot of society-type material in our magazine, something people have not done for years, and I notice now everybody's coming up with it, but we do a lot of society-type pictures. They're sort of timeless. But then we can't exactly hold a story about a sports contest for 3 months.
Right.
So there are a lot of things we have to factor into that and deciding what we're going to put in. We were just talking a while ago about doing something for next year, for the first edition of next year.
Right, great. It's good to be able to commune here at the train depot.
Yes.
Part of the reason we're here, obviously, is highlighting the fact that Jack Thompson, who was on Wednesday, who was very active with the All Aboard Committee in Myrtle,
Yes.
has a lot of photos associated with a piece that Dino Thompson, I believe, has done for the upcoming issue on the Ocean Forest Hotel and otherwise.
Right.
So
Yes.
being here at the train depot and also highlighting the Silver Star scholarships were a great treat this week. As editor of the publication, do you select the features to be covered, or is that more Alton Swan's job?
It's a combination of the two of us. Some of them he runs across, some of them I run across. Sometimes we assign, sometimes we accept manuscripts from freelancers, but by and large we tend to assign most of them that things we really want and know about.
Have you limited your coverage in terms of content to a specific region or specific area?
We're pretty much Grand Strand, pretty much, because we're looking not just for the tourists, but for the locals. It's a lifestyle magazine, and so we think there's as much in there about locals more about locals than anything else.
How many writers and photographers are associated with any one issue?
It depends on the issue, but I'd say a half dozen writers and probably at least that many photographers.
What do you think is the distinguishing factor or distinguishing point that makes Around Myrtle Beach different from any other local publications?
Well, the fact that we can take some time. We don't, as I say, we don't publish tomorrow, so we can take a little bit of time and put more in-depth copy together, features and news, and we can find unusual things. We have a unusual piece coming up this edition from a young lady from New Jersey whose husband was in the World Trade Tower and escaped. And so she has written for us, and we can find those kinds of stories without just taking the top of the top of the story.
I'm glad you mentioned one of the pieces in this upcoming edition. Can you talk real quick about any of the other pieces?
Sure. One of the most interesting I know that I did was an interview with Spud Spadoni, who's a beer distributor in town, of course, and has been here forever, and has been quite a contributor to this area in terms of being involved and also in money contributions. And Spud and his daughter Brenda are running Better Brands now, and they were a lot of fun talking about the past and where they're going in the future. That was a really, Spud doesn't talk for the media very often, so that was a good, exciting time for me.
Absolutely. That's a treat. Jerry, we've run out of time, but I hope we can get you back in another time to talk not only about Round Myrtle Beach, but all the experiences you've seen on the Strand and Horry County over your life.
Be delighted to.
Jerry Ausband, editor of Around Myrtle Beach magazine. Horry County native, left for 2.5 decades, is back. You'll catch him in the next edition of Around Myrtle Beach on newsstands around Thanksgiving. Jerry, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Definitely. Stay tuned for more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in Conway at the historic train depot on Highway 905. We're focused on the first anniversary edition of Around Myrtle Beach magazine coming out this weekend. And we're visiting with the magazine's photographer, Gene Ho. Gene, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Incredible opportunity to highlight the first anniversary publication. I think the fourth in its what will be a long series of publications. And your role as photographer has been an integral part of making the magazine such a great success on the Strand.
Well, we love working with the magazine. I have my staff of photographers that work with us, and it's just been wonderful working with them.
Gene, how long have you lived on the Strand?
This is about probably 14 years now, so I've been here a while, and I love it here. The weather's great, and I love the people here.
So do you have a studio in?
Yep, of course. It's my studio's in Myrtle Beach, and that's where we're based out of. I have a studio also in Charleston. Actually, it's in Mount Pleasant, and in Atlanta, it's in Buckhead. So we have 3 that we run here.
You've got a studio in Buckhead,
Correct.
a studio in Mount Pleasant, and I guess is Myrtle Beach your main studio?
Yeah, everything gets runs out of Myrtle Beach, and we have a incredibly talented staff of photographers that work with me. So that is why we're able to do what we do.
Speaking of those photographers, Gene, what do you have? What services do you offer through the studio?
Well, probably most of the people here know us for our wedding photography. That's what we mainly do. In Atlanta, we're just been there about 2 years, but we just was the first runner-up for the best wedding photographer. And so weddings is usually what we do, but of course around Myrtle Beach gives us a chance to do some fun stuff too, with meeting different people and doing stuff outside of weddings.
Definitely. Do you do any teaching, Gene? Teaching photography?
Right. I teach at Horry Georgetown Technical College, and this year we're running schools out of all 3 campuses, the one in Myrtle Beach, the one in Georgetown, and Conway. So we've been very busy with that.
Definitely. And do you do any teaching at the local university, Coastal Carolina? Or?
No, it's just Horry Georgetown Tech is the only one we're working with now exclusively.
Great.
That one's been really going well.
With their 3 campuses, I mean, that's more than serves the Strand and much more than the Strand.
Correct, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
spectacular. Do you have other photographers working with you?
Right. The photographers that I have working with me are perhaps among the most talented in the beach. Just to give you an idea, Jack Thompson's granddaughter is one of my photographers, Rachel Thompson. We have Lisa Young, who's incredible, Jonathan Carter, and my wife works with me as well. So we have a tremendously talented staff.
What types of assignments are you and your staff members doing for around Myrtle Beach first, and then obviously the wedding photography and teaching takes up a heck of a lot of your time, going to Mount Pleasant, going to Buckhead, overseeing staffs in those locations. Are there events in particular that you've been covering for around Myrtle Beach?
We do the social events for around Myrtle Beach. We do some of their ad photography, and the last couple issues, of course, we did the cover photos for them. So it's really something that we get to meet a lot of people. I think last time, I think it was Jonathan that shot our new governor, or took a picture of him, and we get to meet a lot of people through the magazine, which is probably why we enjoy shooting for them so much.
Definitely. Have you done other work personally, or your photographers in other publishing areas?
The newest one that we're working with is Jezebel magazine, which is in Atlanta, and this year we're doing their VIP party. We're shooting the VIP party for them. It'll be all of Atlanta celebrities will be there. Whitney Houston, I think Dikembe Mutombo, who is a basketball player. This year we're working a lot with Jezebel, so that's probably our new thing, and that also gives us an opportunity to do exactly similar to what we do with around Myrtle Beach, but over in Atlanta.
Have you personally done any work with newsprint, with newspapers?
I worked a long time, or actually contracted a long time with the Sun News, and that's probably where most people recognize me from and know me from. And that has been a great experience for me. But working especially with Around Myrtle Beach, the magazine really gives us a lot of freedom to do a lot of things. And Alton has just been great and wonderful helping us with that.
Gene, how does a photojournal assignment for a news magazine differ from a daily newsprint?
Probably the freedom that we have. When we shot the last cover for Around Myrtle Beach, they got a chance to come to the studio, and it was much more like what you would imagine like a fashion photographer working, rather than just recording images or news events. It was really interesting and a lot of fun. We all really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite assignment or kind of work that you focus on? Obviously, you do a heck of a lot of weddings, but do you have a favorite assignment that you personally enjoy, and maybe some of the assignments that many of your staff photographers enjoy?
Believe it or not, the weddings is my favorite thing all the time. I really enjoy shooting that. But when we go to these social events, it gives us an opportunity to meet a lot of people, a lot of the local friends here that live in around the beach. That is probably what we enjoy doing the most, because we get to go out there, talk to people, and really go to some of the parties that they have and enjoy ourselves.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Have you displayed your work in any galleries, Gene?
This year we're working on a show. We're getting ready to do something with Nick's at 61st, Nick Remedio. We're doing some work with him and his partner there at the studio adjacent to his, Robert Saddlemeyer. Probably the interesting thing we've done this year is we sponsored a race car. And it's information's on the website. We sponsored a driver called John Kinder, and he races for the Hooters Pro Cup Series. And so we had our car racing this year. The season's just about over now, but that was probably an interesting thing.
Definitely. And your website, you mentioned your website. What is that?
GeneHo.com is the website. It is a really interesting website. It has pictures of our race car. The website has a celebrity client gallery, so some of the celebrities we shot for Alton, including the governors and other celebrities we have on there. And it's just a nice website for people to go on to look at different pictures.
I understand that your location, your studio in Myrtle Beach. Could you tell A, where it's located for the viewers, and also B, I understand it has a pretty special lighting setup.
Yeah, that is probably the most interesting thing about it, because it's a daylight lit studio, which means when we go up to the studio upstairs, we technically don't have to use any kind of studio lights, although we do use them. But the sun just comes in there really nicely. But it is in downtown Myrtle Beach and on 8th Avenue, but the best way to describe it is in that when you first go into Myrtle Beach is that what everyone calls that funky intersection when you first come in. And we've been there, and we just love the studio and the location. And that's why, even though we are in Atlanta, Buckhead, and Charleston, we choose to work out exclusively out of there, where everything gets filtered through the Myrtle Beach studio.
Right. So with a lot of our viewers in the PD and up in southeastern North Carolina, if they were coming in and wanted to visit your studio on a trip to Myrtle Beach, you just come right down 501.
501, and right before the roller coaster, you'll run into it. And most people see it even if they're not even looking for it.
The best way to contact you is at...
Probably the website, GeneHo.com, GeneHO.com, and I'll have all the information there. And it's a real fun site. Jonathan Carter is working on it. We're putting some updates on it, so it looks really good.
Great. Gene Ho, the official photographer for Around Myrtle Beach magazine, highlighted today. You can catch many of his photographers around at events on the Strand and at events in Charleston and Atlanta. Gene, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me here. Appreciate it.
Definitely. Stay tuned for more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in Conway, South Carolina, at the historic train depot on Highway 905. We're focused on the inaugural issue of Around Myrtle Beach, and we're visiting with someone who's been instrumental in making the magazine happen, Michelle Brigman. Michelle.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Incredible opportunity over the last couple of days to highlight this first anniversary edition, Tommy Davis's cover piece on Barefoot Resort and Barefoot, the marina there, or his future plans for the marina. A little bit about yourself, Michelle. Are you originally from the area?
I'm originally from Rockingham, North Carolina, and moved here after graduation from high school, and lived here for about 7 years, then left for 10 years. Left Myrtle Beach for 10 years. Then came home. I consider this to be home. It's close enough to Rockingham.
Do you still have any family in Rockingham?
I do. My parents are there.
Great.
Aunts and uncles, grandparents.
You probably feel like a lot of your family's on the Grand Strand, though.
Absolutely.
Right.
Lifelong friends.
What was it like leaving for 10 years and then coming back?
Wow. Well, when I left, I really left. I was doing a lot of swimsuit modeling, so I moved to South Beach, Miami, which was the perfect location. And I lived in Beverly Hills, California, and New York City.
Golly.
Well, yeah.
Big
I covered
areas.
some nice areas.
L.A., Miami, and New York.
It was great.
Amazing.
Great.
Would you mind talking a little about, real quick, about swimsuit modeling, what that's like? And I'm sure that those activities must be harrowing.
Well, I won a local pageant here at 2001, actually, Miss Hawaiian Tropic. That led to Miss Hawaiian Tropic National Contest, and won that top 4. And so that led to the internationals, which led to Europe and traveling for about 8 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's amazing, Michelle.
It was great. A long time ago, it was a lot of fun.
The current Miss Hawaiian Tropic, or Miss Hawaiian Tropic Myrtle Beach, actually Tina Ardelian works as a traffic assistant at Fox 43 and has been active at the station. Has been in a lot of Hawaiian Tropic related activities. Those are still very strong on the Strand.
Oh, yeah.
Do you help out in an advisory role with any of those activities anymore?
I haven't. Since I've been back this time, I have not got involved at all. But I'm still very close to Ron Rice, the owner of Hawaiian Tropic. He's like a second father. And I traveled for many years with them.
Had you had any involvement over those 10 years away with any magazines or society magazines of any sort?
No, this was my first one that I got involved with. I did a lot of stuff with MTV over the years and a lot of stuff in Europe.
You're saying things that obviously spark a lot of interest on my part, and I'm sure in a lot of viewers' parts when you talk about Hawaiian Tropic and you talk about South Beach and Beverly Hills in New York. Now you just mentioned MTV. Obviously this is a TV show. What about your activities with MTV?
I've done several spring break shows. A couple of different game shows, Spring Break Live, some commentating for Hawaiian Tropic. Ron always picks several girls, during each pageant time, because we used to hold the internationals in Daytona. So during Daytona Spring Break, he would pick whatever girls he'd like to have on camera to commentate and go around and talk to everybody. And it was very interesting. And all my friends in my hometown always were like, "We saw you on MTV. We saw you on MTV."
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's like, oh well, but whatever. It was fun.
That's amazing.
It's fun.
That's in Hawaiian Tropic. You say Ron Rice. Where's that located? Where's it headquartered?
Based out of Ormond Beach, which is a little beach just north of Daytona.
Ormond Beach, close. It's in Florida.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Florida.
Sure.
Just up from Daytona.
And it's got an international presence. Hawaiian Tropics.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere.
All over the world. It's great.
Funny that it's not located in Hawaii. Did Ron grow up or spend any time in Hawaii? Have any tie there?
It's just the name. He was actually a chemistry teacher from Tennessee, and ended up as a lifeguard in Daytona Beach.
Is that right?
And he mixed the formula up in a trash can. And the actual trash can that he mixed the formula up in is still in his living room in Daytona Beach. It's bronzed.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I know viewers thought we were going to be highlighting Around Myrtle Beach magazine, but the opportunity to highlight bronze trash cans in Ormond Beach, Florida is surely...
I'm sure Alton won't mind.
It's surely a kicker. It's really a kicker. We've got to get back to Around Myrtle Beach. What would help differentiate Around Myrtle Beach from any other magazines that have launched on the Strand or that have been going for years in the greater Grand Strand?
First of all, we have an amazing editor and a wonderful photographer. Jerry Ausband is our editor, and Gene Ho is our photographer, with an amazing staff as well. And they really added the right ingredients for Around Myrtle Beach to have the first society magazine, full glossy. And Myrtle Beach was really looking for something like that. And there are, a couple of other magazines that have come out after, but they're nice as well.
Right.
They're nice publications. We've got a lot of nice publications in Myrtle Beach.
Definitely. Definitely.
Myrtle Beach is very lucky in that aspect.
And up in the PD in southeastern North Carolina, many of the viewers, I'm not aware of a lot of glossy magazines up there. It's amazing that in Myrtle, soon after Around Myrtle Beach launched, it seemed like 2 or 3 other publications came on its heels. So Alton and you obviously had a good plan there. Do you have a favorite story, Michelle, that you've covered?
I really like the story in the last issue about the two Revs. It's called The Two Revs, and they're these two ladies. They're reverends. They're like pastors, and they're just filled with the Spirit. They're just wonderful, wonderful ladies, and they found out that there are a lot of runaways in Myrtle Beach. A lot of kids flock to Myrtle Beach because of the weather, and they basically use the bathrooms at campgrounds, and they sleep on lounge chairs, and they've actually talked a lot of them into going home. At any time, there's between, I think, 12 and 1,500 runaways. Can you believe that? On the Grand Strand in Myrtle Beach, yeah. And these ladies go out and they, talk to these kids and, eventually get them to call their parents. They've sent a lot of them home by calling their parents. It's really, really neat story. And in the Spud Spadoni interview, the question and answer, that's going to be a nice story as well.
And that's an upcoming issue.
Yeah, and he's an amazing, amazing man, he and his daughter.
Can you talk about some of the events that will be featured in this upcoming issue that will be out right before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we've got a lot of good society photographs, a lot of good events like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Carousel Horses, the Mad Hatter, and the Taste of Town this year. We got some really, really good photographs of actually the vendors and some of the restaurant owners, instead of just pictures of everyone standing around, conversing like we did last year.
Great,
It's a big hit last year, big hit.
A big hit of people hanging out eating, but this year you decided to go the back.
Right. A lot of really good photographs we're featuring.
That's spectacular. You also said you're highlighting Spud and Brenda Spadoni.
Question and answers, yeah.
That should be fantastic. Are you doing that on a regular basis, doing Q&As with?
Right. We're going to feature someone every time.
Michelle Brigman, she's returning home after 10 years away, home originally in Rockingham, North Carolina, but feels like Myrtle Beach is her home. Many years with the Wine Tropic, now helping around Myrtle Beach be the success that it's been. Michelle, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Greg. Pleasure.
Stay tuned for more Carolina People. We want to thank Jason Pippin and Carolina Southern Railroad for helping make Carolina People such a great success.